Good morning. Got my Dunkin' Donuts coffee today. They're changing their look and everything, and now it's just called Dunkin'. Yeah, I was thinking about something today. I posted a meme. Let's see if I can find it. I posted it on Instagram. And it says, you can't calm the storm, so stop trying. What you can do is calm yourself. The storm will pass. Now, let me tell you a little story. Those of you new to my channel, let it be known that for years and years I played in metal bands, heavy metal bands. About 1989 is when I started to write lyrics. And I remember, being from the desert. We lived in Phoenix. We moved to Springfield. And it was kind of nice to see the thunderstorms. I've always been a fan of thunderstorms. In Phoenix you had these electrical storms, and monsoon season, it was just like an intense thunderstorm and then it was gone. They didn't have one for 3 or 4 days. Or weeks. It's the desert, right? But I remember, like, the first day we spent, that we lived in Springfield, that had our house, we had a tornado warning. That was my introduction to welcome to Missouri, tornado season, And I remember this day very vividly. Our house faced north-south. So I looked to the north and there was black clouds, in the backyard. And in the front yard it was all nice and sunny and everything. And you can literally see the squall line. So I would sit out there and I would literally watch the squall line. And once that squall line hit, the wind would start and everything else. Sorry for the noise. I got my windows open here. And when I started to write lyrics for songs, I used that experience. And I wrote these lyrics called Tempest of Eternity. And I think the original title was Sensing the Storm, I think. And a friend of mine helped me tweak the lyrics a couple of years later. And it ended up being the first real band that I had was a band called Cyanide Rainbow. And it was like the first, it was the lyrics were metaphoric, talk about the storm of life, right? But I was using the experience that I experienced that day, with the storm coming, the squall line, seeing the shelf cloud and all that, and that's what that song's about. It's about the storm of life that comes at you. And later on, my other metal band, Apnea, we did, we updated the version and we recorded it. And one of these days I'll use that song in one of my videos. Now, that meme, sorry, I had to clear my throat. I'm all over the place today. Take a sip of coffee, right? That meme, you can't calm the storm, so stop trying. I think in some ways we always kind of wish for the storm not to come, But there's nothing you can do. If you can avoid the storms. Like if you're in a ship in the water, you might be able to avoid some storms, but some storms you just can't avoid, right? And I think that a lot of times I don't feel like I'm equipped enough to handle storms that are coming up. And definitely throughout my life, I've had moments where I'm just like, boom, hit with the storm and didn't see it coming, wasn't prepared, and I got hammered, right? You know, getting fired from a job, or losing your place to live, or just, you know, finding out news of someone that you know or friends with, you know, committing suicide, you know, stuff like that. Some storms are worse than others. And I think a lot of people, myself included, we focused on trying to avoid the storms. Trying to I don't know, hope that the storm doesn't come, you know. And the way I look at it, you're instead of trying to avoid the rain, you're better off getting your raincoat on and just facing it head first. Because here's the thing, there was a time where I was going through Nashville in the truck. I was looking at the radar. And this is like 6 or 7 years ago. I was going, you know, looking at the radar, and someone on the CB was like, guys, I'm from Indiana, those clouds don't look good at all. I'm pulling over into the TA. So they went to the TA, and I said, screw it, I'm gonna ride this storm out. Well, I went right through that storm, held on tight. We were doing 20 miles an hour, everybody had their four-ways on, we were doing that number for a minute, and then it was done. Whereas that guy that sat in the truck stop, he had to weather that storm for a while, because it came, you know, there was no avoiding it, right? And you always hear stories of like people at truck stops, or trucks at truck stops getting tossed, you know, if a tornado hits. I don't believe there was ever a tornado warning that day, but still, I mean, you know, I think about that, you know, especially since the Joplin tornado, since that hit close to home. But I guess the whole point of this dumb video is that storms are coming, you know, and sometimes that storm is worse in your mind. If you ever seen these dark clouds on the horizon, and you're like, oh man, this is going to be a bad one, and then you go through it and it's like, oh, it wasn't that bad, you know. But in your head, you're like, oh man, it's going to be a bad storm. I bet you there's tornadoes, I bet you there's wind, I bet you there's hail. And then you go through it and it's just rain. So sometimes your mind can make the storm worse than it already is. But you got to go through it. That's how we learn. That's how we adapt. That's how we learn to adapt. That's how we learn to evolve. And some people like creating their storms by like cleaning the slate, you know, leaving their, you know, you hear people like completely just like leaving their spouse and their job and everything all at the same time. You hear about that a lot. So boom, they just created that storm and now they're ready for their next chapter, you know, that kind of thing. But I don't know. I think that braving the storm will make you a stronger person than trying to avoid the storm. And there's no avoiding it. That's the thing. So anyways, thanks for watching. Enjoy your coffee if you're drinking any. If not, what's wrong with you? See you later.